San Quentin Prison, known for its wide variety of rehabilitative programs, hasn't allowed visitors for over a year now. But last month, Mount Tamalpais College started limited classes for San Quentin students again. To discuss that and more, we are now joined by Shaheen Pasha of the Prison Journalism Project, Jody Lewen, the president of Mount Tamalpais College, and Marcus Blevins, who is pursuing a graduate degree after 25 years in San Quentin. Pretty impressive, Marcus. How important are educational programs like this in prison as a whole, and how important are they to you in your life?
Well, I would say that it's very important. I mean, it's critical. For me, it's like it was opening a whole new vista on how I can best address my needs, right? First, you have to have some kind of knowledge of, of your deficits. So I think through the education process, which probably didn't start for me at the college level, but, doing programming in prison, rehabilitative programming, is what led me towards getting a college or seeking a college degree. And I would say that with the knowledge comes the ability to be able to make the change. If you don't have the knowledge, how can you make the change? And so it has to begin somewhere. And so rehabilitation, that's where it began for me. That's when I started turning the corner on being able to address my outstanding needs.
I remember coming to prison, I was just I was a bit of a mess, I was pretty, to be honest, I was a pretty disgusting person, I was a drug dealer, and I had these principles where it was like this upside down kingdom mentality of thinking, right? And I guess when I started educating myself, I just looked up to started looking up to different things, different people. So sort of opened my eyes to a whole new world.
I know it's been a tough year for everybody, but especially with the lack of programs over the last year, how has that affected incarcerated people during the pandemic?
When we take a look at the lack of these programming across the country, it has been really, really isolating for our men and women. I mean, these were things that not only provided rehabilitative, educational opportunities, but they also provided an opportunity for our men and women to socialize with people on the outside, to really sort of hone these skills that they're working on. 95% of people inside do eventually get released. And so these educational programs, these rehabilitative programs are so essential, not only for the material that they're learning for their brains, but also just in terms of the ability to socialize with people outside. So I think one of the things that our writers have been really telling us is these programs are one of the things that they miss the most about the pandemic and all the isolation that's happened.
So just under 50% of all incarcerated people in California have been given their first dose of the coronavirus vaccine. Now, Jody, do we know when more of those programs are going to be returning to San Quentin?
We really don't. It depends on the dissemination of the vaccine, as you said, but also I think on the capacity of staff, because staff have also been severely impacted by the pandemic. And I think programming also requires specific staffing levels and just logistical capacity that I think is also kind of pending. I think that the department has really been shell-shocked, both the incarcerated community and the staff and administrators. And I think right now they're sort of trying to figure out what the benchmarks will be that let them know that it's safe to bring people back in. And I think also part of the dilemma for all of us, not just in the prison system, is that there is no playbook for this. And I think the way the department operates, typically, no matter what they do, someone will criticize them. So I think part of the problem is them sort of figuring out, weighing the cost-benefit analysis to taking some risk in this situation, considering the urgency, which I think everybody agrees upon, of getting programs back up and running as quickly as possible.
Yeah, it's definitely been a year of really nobody can win, kind of regardless of what side you're on. So Mount Tamalpais College, formerly, of course, known as the Prison University Project, has been teaching classes at San Quentin for over 20 years. Is there a concern that the programs won't return in full in the capacity that they were before because of this?
I don't actually think so. I think the people who participate in these programs as teachers, instructors, whatever the program is, are really, it's an incredibly committed community of folks. I don't think they're going away anytime soon. I think it's just deeply frustrating, particularly for the people on the outside, knowing how difficult conditions are inside, knowing how bored, terribly bored and frustrated people are, having nothing to do, having all their kind of creativity and hard work and plans sort of suspended, not being able to do more. So I think if anything, people are going to come back with an even greater passion for what they were doing before.
I was a professor that hosted a creative writing workshop, Thorne Lawson, that came into Attica and taught me how to write and some others. Had he not done that and had that college professor was like, I don't know about that. I don't think I'm talking to you today. I don't think I have this career today. I'm not a contributing editor for Esquire. I'm not, writing pieces for the Times, from a cell. So that's how it matters.
And studies have shown that if people do pursue an education while they're in prison, the chances that they'll go back to prison actually drops by 43%, which is pretty remarkable. And $5 is saved in recidivism costs for every dollar spent on educational programs in prison. Shaheen, what do you think about the connection between education and mass incarceration?
I mean, I think the connection is even visible before people even wind up behind bars. I mean, we see what we talk about, the school to prison pipeline. We see the poor schooling. We see the zero tolerance policies that result in people, largely people of color, or a lot of large people of color, that wind up going into prison. And then when they get inside, they've already lacked some of the skill sets beforehand. And now when they're inside, they have no programming to sort of help them to get to the next level and to be able to be, a more productive member of society. So education is vital. It's key when you're talking about the concept of rehabilitation, when you're talking about bringing people back into society. You have to prepare them. What we've seen is that people that receive educational programming, they're better prepared when they go outside to have jobs, to be able to integrate better into society because they have skill sets. So there's this punitive belief that, when you go inside, it's all about punishment. Why are we giving them education? You're giving people educational opportunities behind bars. So when they come outside, they are doing good and well in society, and that they're actually contributing properly and really becoming part of society again. So I think it's very, very important that these programs become much more commonplace. I mean, there were more programs before the Pell Grant was taken away in 1994. We've just seen that come back. So we're very hopeful that we're going to start to see more educational programming across the country.
Yeah, so not just coming back to pre-pandemic levels, but potentially even beyond that. And Marcus, just before we go, hopefully we're turning a corner now that the vaccine is out. What is it your hope for what the future looks like when it comes to this kind of learning?
Yeah, well, so I've already seen some tangible results from my efforts since I've been released. Currently, I am an editor for a nonprofit organization called the Humans of San Quentin, right? And this is a direct result of my taking the time out to increase my earning potential and my visibility as being someone who is able to competently perform a function in society. So yeah, that's a really big thing for me because now I know that I have something that can keep me stable, right? I have a job. I'm able to get transportation. I'm able to get all of those essential things that are necessary for when the person walks out of the prison, off the grounds of the prison with $200 in their pocket. How far is $200 going to go? So the educational benefit is something that is longer lasting and of much more benefit than the little monetary stipend that you receive coming out of that door. And so now it becomes that what are your prospects? What do you have that you can do to help sustain yourself? If you have this education or educational background, people see that. Then you get hired as editors for Humans of San Quentin or other agencies or places in the workplace, right? You can be seen as a valuable commodity.
Absolutely. You can give a man a fish or you can teach a man to fish, right, guys? Well, thank you all so much. It was such a pleasure to have you. We appreciate all of the good work that you've been doing and continue to do. And hopefully we are turning that corner and we will continue to see positive improvement when it comes to all of this. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.